What is up, everybody? This is the Fallout with here, and today I got to be doing What If Deku Was the Judgerson, since all of you like that. Now, this is a made-up what if, or a made-up character that I had for a very long time, or not the story itself, but basically the character. Now, I'm going to have you guys pick from A, B, or C. You guys don't know what this is, alright? So remember, this is like, let's say that I know this all too well. So it's a bunch of warriors. You can pick from three letters, A, B, or C. Now, I'm going to do the Lucifer one next, because I forgot to do that one due to the fact that I was at work. Now, anyway, let's begin. So, Deku won the sports festival. How? Well, he basically destroyed all of Bakugo's bones, has burned him with hellfire and hell ice. Let's see. He got a bunch of shadows, so basically kept scratching in the insides. What else? I say Cerberus was pretty much like happy, and Deku was basically what he does most. Now, Bakugo is truly terrified of him, but because of the All For One that he has, because of All For One, One For All, basically Deku has the ability to, Bakugo has the ability to basically overcome this travesty. Now, Deku, how you say it? Well, a lot of people picked Deku because Deku, the invitation, I think the invitations from the heroes, one was from Endeavor, because Deku can use a weird ghost type fire, which is bluish, but it's not blue like freaking Dobby's. It's like a bluish / greenish kind of fire. So it's kind of like that. Hold on, let me see for a minute here. Let's see. Okay, so I think I kind of, give me a second here. Okay, it looks like this right here. Basically that kind of fire. So anyway, let's see. There we go. Now, Deku is, he has to just pick whatever one he wants, or he can just pick nobody's. Now, Bakugo will go with Gran Torino due to the fact that he's got One For All, but he doesn't access full Cowling per se, he just only knows how to use explosions. Now, here's the thing. Deku just talks to, what's-his-face, talks to Endeavor. He tells Endeavor that he pretty much, it's pretty much a fire that he can only use. And freaking, he'll never know how to, and Todoroki will never understand. But he can basically learn how to strengthen his ice. And freaking Endeavor says, wait a minute, why would you want my son to do ice? The whole reason why I brought you here was because of your fire. And Deku says, well, yes, but in order to get the hottest ice in the world, and basically make it to the point where it can melt ice immediately, is by training with ice. He has a quirk that could literally strengthen his whole body. Not only that, which can make his flames hotter, and which can make his ice colder. So basically, all he needs to do is just train like that. And Endeavor's kind of intrigued. So he said, Zuko, you're telling me that in order for my son's fire to be hot, it needs to be hot enough to melt the ice that he makes. And Deku just says, exactly. It's just basic knowledge. And he's like, okay, you can do whatever you want. We're not going anywhere. And if you want to just get out, you can. No one's going to stop you, not even me. And Endeavor kind of actually respects Deku because nobody thought about this besides him. And nobody in the anime, as far as I remember, just said, oh yeah, just try to burn your freaking ice. But probably another what if already did it, you know, not me. But anyway, so Deku has already talked to Ida about Tensei. Why? Well, because he heard of what happened. And he says he knows a way how to help him. And Ida says, don't worry about me, Deku. Just do whatever you want to do. I'm just going to do my own thing. And he's basically going to try to fight freaking, what's his face? Stain. Now, the whole thing happens, freaking Deku just says, Ida, as much as I do not like the path of evil, or as much as I want to kill somebody who has done that to my friend or family, right now is not the time. I can help him. I can literally heal him. If you don't get revenge, I will heal him 100% to the point where it never even happened before. And freaking Ida says, wait a minute, how can you do that? And Deku says, remember the Nomu? And he says, no, I was running away. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, here's the thing. I killed the Nomu. Wait a minute, you did what? But didn't you just kill no, Ida. I didn't kill him. I didn't kill her. Wait a minute. That was a she? Yes. Or no. Wait a minute. Crap, I messed up. But anyway, so they talk for a while, and Deku just tells him that I can the Nomu was a big, destructive creature that was experimented on. So that means I could reverse the whole situation right here, Ida. And he says, fine, but I'm still going to try to find him. And he says, oh man, why don't you humans ever learn? Fine. But don't expect for me to automatically save you. But Deku's going to save him. Now, the whole fight with freaking Deku and Stain. Let me see. Deku is using his his freaking jurisdiction form. And he tells Stain that, look, I don't know who you are, but it's time for you to die. And he basically grabs a bunch of heroes. Or a bunch of dead people get up. And he sees a bunch of them. And he's like, alright, the innocent may walk first. Because he doesn't know who this guy killed. And basically the villains from back then killed mostly innocents. But Stain keeps talking about good people. He's killed good people. And basically all that happens was, a lot of them, let's say he's killed about 20. I don't know how much he killed, but let's say a good 20. And mostly 15 of them, or 15% of them, were actually bad. Let's say that right there. Why were they bad? Well, because Deku, mostly because Deku knows which one's bad due to their hearts. If their hearts aren't that black, then it means that they're good. But if it's black, then that means they're corrupted souls. So Deku just says, jeez, you still killed 5 of them. You didn't even know which one was good and which one was bad. And he says all of them are bad, except for All Might. And he says, how so? I don't know about the other ones, but I know when they just always, they do it for the money, Izuku. Or they do it for the money, whoever you are. And Deku says, look, yes, people do it for money. But if we kill them, then we're no better than they are. If we just kill those who actually hurt others, who's actually taken from the innocent, who actually tries to use the innocent for their own malicious intent, that's when I step in. But I know for damn sure I'm not going to let anybody else die just because of your anger and your prophecy, or whatever you want to call it. And freaking Stain says, you're right. These people are probably innocent. But the 15%, well, the 15 other people aren't innocent. And he says, it doesn't matter. You still killed innocents. And he says, yes, I know. I'll take that to the grave with me. And this is when they start fighting. Basically, Stain and him are very good at what they're doing. Because Deku is just saying, he will never learn, so I gotta teach him a lesson. And Deku basically starts cutting him, and basically cuts some of his muscle tendons, some of it, what he is. And the shadows are preoccupying Ida by going inside his eyes and blinding him. Only just enough so that way he won't see what's happening. And the shadows are right there yelling in his ears. Basically causing a wave of, how would I say this, of negative and positive freaking charges to the ears, which means that it's canceling the hearing. So it's not hurting Ida, but he won't be able to see or hear anything right now. Now, they're fighting for a while, and freaking Stain is kind of already messed up. But he took a slice of freaking Deku and licked him, or licked his blood. This is when Deku puts one knee on the ground, and Stain says, well, aren't you strong? But wait a minute, that means your blood isn't how you say it, positive to my blood. And this is when Deku says, no, a deity's blood never is kind of positive with humans. Although I am human myself. Wait a minute, where's freaking Cebrus? Well, Cebrus, it was told to go somewhere else. Why? Well, because she was offered by, let's say this. Let's say it was the Wild Wall Pussycats. So basically it's a bunch of cats versus a bunch of dogs. And that's not going to go well at all. But anyway. So, Deku just says, so how does my blood taste? He says it tastes pure for some reason. Like blood he's never seen before or tasted. And he says, yes, this is called deity blood. And he says, what is this deity blood you keep speaking of? And this is when Deku basically turns into his freaking death form. And it says, deity blood is something that you must never actually taste. Otherwise, it starts to take effect over you. Although I'm no longer human, or no longer deity, it still will take an effect of something. Pretty much I don't know what. But, looking at you right now, you actually survived most of my blows. Which means you trained yourself into killing bad people. Why not kill villains? And he says, because I don't want to kill villains right now. If they do anything bad to the innocent, I will kill them. No problem. But if I don't see them do it, then it's pretty much a waste of my time. And besides, the heroes are the ones I want to look after, kill. And this is when he says, or this is when Deku says, then why not just be my servant? And he says, wait a minute, your servant? Why would I ever want to be that? A child? Being a child's servant. You want me to do that. And this is when he summons his bloodlust, which Ida can feel right now. And this is when Deku just says, oh, really? That's it? That's the very end of your bloodlust? I can no longer see my real father and mother. And you think that will hurt me? And this is when he summons his death form. Sheesh. This is when he summons death. And basically, he says, oh, so you're a bit more bigger now. What makes you an easier target to hit? And this is when Deku just says, try me. So, he just, how would I say this? He just basically summons his true bloodlust, which any deity can use, because this is their nature as gods, to kill all those who do bad. And basically, freaking, what's his face? Sheesh. Oh yeah, Stain. Stain is basically feeling this bloodlust and he's saying, what is this? Why am I shaking? And this is when Deku says, you know that would never work on me. How foolish of you to think that your bloodlust will be as on par as mine. And he says, who the hell are you? And Deku just says, do you not see what I look like? I'm basically the Grim Reaper himself. I am that who will judge the world for their crimes. You may call me the Judger Sin. And this is when he basically summons freaking bloodlust even higher than that. And he says, the more I let my bloodlust run loose, the more the world will notice me. And this is when 2 minutes have passed by, and heroes, people around the whole city can feel what's happening. Everybody around that area, even the Nomus themselves, can feel at least a little bit of bloodlust that could scare them. Endeavor, freaking Ida, what's his face, Native, Gran Torino, freaking Bakugo. All those people, anybody that's at least in a 10-meter radius is already incapacitated. The other ones are in fear. It feels like a storm has just came by. Like tornadoes were right beside them. And all they could do is just sit under the basement and wait for their demise. That is what Stain is feeling right now. And he says, please just stop it. You made your point. And this is when Deku says, I have I? Well, it doesn't matter. And Stain can't move at all. Because this is the true version of blood binding. And freaking Deku grabs his scythe and basically taps on the freaking on the freaking forehead of Stain, and basically it's locking him into a contract. Now, you will work for me, Stain. I do not know your real name, but I know what your past is. After tapping on your head, I know what you've been through as a child. I've known what happened to your mother, at least. Your father was never there for you. Your mother was taken advantage of by heroes. You thought you can trust heroes, but then you saw their true nature. And then you turned into a life of crime. This is forgivable, but I only forgive those who will change themselves. I do not let those run amok a second time. Do you hear me, Stain? Stain just says, please, just forgive me for what I've done. And this is when, how would I say this? Everybody around the whole freaking city is just under alert for a villain named Stain. But because of what happened with Stain, a lot of villains are starting to pop out and trying to act like Stain. Why? Well, people saw what Stain looks like. But they also know that Stain is running amok. And this is when he says, here, take this. Stain says, wait, what is this? And Deku just says, if you eat this, you can change it to anybody you want. You won't get their quirk, but I can grant you a power or so. Besides, you're a villain right now. But if I can change your face... Basically, he changes to another face besides Stain. Stain's clothing has to be taken off, and Deku gives him clothes so that way he can have that way he can wear it. Now, Stain just pledges his honor, his life, and his service to Deku. And this is when Deku says, alright, first task at hand. I'm going to need you to go somewhere. And he says, where would this be, Izuku? And Deku says, please don't be formal with me. If anybody, it's my father who would want me to do this. And this is when Hades looks and he sees that Deku is making a few servants of his own. And freaking Persephone is saying, oh, look at them, our son is doing so good. And this is when Hades is like, yes, darling, but it won't matter. There's somebody who I think I found out who's actually did it. And he says, who would this be? And this is when Hades says, it will have to be my father, Cronus. And this is when Persephone says, oh, wait a minute, how do you know it's him? And this is when he says, the knife. The knife was basically a different version of what he used to use, or what he used to have. But make no mistake that this is a weapon that can kill gods. He must have got this metal from somewhere where the dragons live. And basically that's it. But here's the thing. Cronus himself is striking a deal with a certain character that we all know, love, and hate at the same time. You guys probably know who he is. He's probably Deku's dad. Or at least in our freaking minds. Okay, it's one for all for one. Alright, pretty much, it's too much time. Now, Stain is right there. That Stain is being told to take care of Izuku's mother, or at least human mother. Why? Well, basically, he wants Yuki to live a normal child life. Basically, she's the same age as Izuku, so he thinks that she should get her education, and she should be a hero. Now, I forgot what she had, to be honest, but let's say this, that Deku has given her a somewhat semi-quirk, where basically Deku, how would I say this, will give her the ability to make smoke. So basically she's a blinder kind of hero. She can basically hide and camouflage behind the mist. Kind of like Zabuza. So yeah, pretty much that happened. Now, oh yeah, pretty much gotta just go back. And pretty much, there we go. You know what, I'm just gonna go right here because this is adorable. No, this is adorable. So, the whole freaking time, Cerberus found out about what happened. She ran and got out of the freaking place. Or out of the freaking... She got out of training earlier. And this is when Deku says, hello, Cerberus. You sensed me, didn't you? And this is when Cleo just says, wait, what happened? Why did you have to use your bloodlust? And she was, freaking, no, Deku was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it all the way like that. It just comes out normally for me. And she's like, your father's bloodlust was not as, how would I say this? It wasn't running amok like that. Jeez. We could sense it, but only because we're part of you, I guess. And this is when Deku just says, I'm sorry, Cerberus. Cleopatra. Yes, Deku? Ah, jeez. I need you to go talk to Tensei. Chloe. I need you to go see All Might. And Cleo. I need you to stay with me. Could you three do that? And freaking Cleopatra and Chloe are just like, wait a minute. Why does she have to go with you? What about us? We want to come too. And Deku's like, okay. If you both do this, you guys can get head pats. And they're like, alright, so where is this at? I do not know where this place has to be. So, Deku just says, just go here. Freaking, hold on, did I say... Give me a second here. So, basically, they're, I forgot, Cleopatra's going to Tensei. Freaking, Cleo is going to freaking, All Might, because he needs to talk to All Might. Why? Well, because basically a freaking letter was sent down by Hades. And there's a freaking, how would I say this? There's a freaking, god that's going to strike a deal with All For One. And he's not going to give him the power to stop time, because time itself would kind of mess up. Or he doesn't want to give All For One too much power, but he knows what he wants to give him. Now, the whole freaking thing with Deku teleporting, because he has, no, not teleporting, he has to take the freaking Pegasus all the way because his wings are not fully adapted just yet. So close, but yet so far. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. Shout out to people if you guys know that. Anyway, so Deku just goes to Tensei and basically does the Iron Maiden. Why? Well, because the Iron Maiden has the property of changing one all the way back. But the cost is pain itself. Pain will only work. Why? Well, because the Iron Maiden is made with different properties that it needs to have in order for it to work. So basically, the screams, the muffled screams that are being let out of Tensei's freaking body is basically freaking the way that Tensei will be healed up. You get pain to heal yourself, and then in the very end, once you get out of it, you won't feel a thing. But it's a scary process for a lot of people. Now, with the whole All Might thing, he talks to him. All Might just says, wait a minute, how do you know about All For One? And he says, look, all I just know is that there's a guy who's talked about. He's basically lying. He doesn't want to talk about the whole freaking gods thing again. And Cleopatra, Chloe, and Cleo are just talking to freaking Deku. What are you saying? Does he not know that there's other gods as well? And Deku's just like, yeah, okay, I understand that there's other gods. I understand that he doesn't know that there's other gods. He basically believes in his god. And she's like, okay, all gods are kind of real, but it's like, what are we, Chop Suey? And Deku just says, I think you mean chop liver. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah. But anyway, Deku, we have to just tell him that we're gods. Or you're a god. And Deku says, I'm not a god anymore. I may have the powers of one, but I'm no longer one. Otherwise, I could have just flown all the way to the gates where they're at. One day I'll be back, and I can see my brothers and sisters. Oh, jeez, they're gonna have a field day with me. But anyway, look, let's just say that Stain was talking about One For All, and we found out who he is. But the fact that there was Nomus that were made ever since that Shigaraki fellow talked to us about it. So basically, he explains that freaking the Nomu that was there was being attacked, or was attacking the city, which were the same ones that All For One basically were talking about. And Stain knows who he is because it's the villain underworld. Who wouldn't know about that? Now, this is when Deku just says, alright, alright, All Might. It doesn't matter anymore, but we know that there's something going on. Now, please just have a good day, and tell Bakugo I said good luck. And All Might knew about what happened. All Might saw this, it was like, oh, sheesh. Man, but the fact that freaking, he was alive again and healed, which basically he only had bone manipulation, and the whole thing with Tensei, his bones were kind of messed up that it needed an Iron Maiden, and besides, he kind of just got bored, so doing the Iron Maiden cheered him up. Yeah, pretty much all that happened. Now, he just does his own thing for a while. Now let's go to the freaking, let's go to the freaking, what is it called again? The campsite, or the camping thing, or the forest I forgot what it was, but I know this is where when Koda, tries to punch Deku in the nuts. That place. Now, anyway, they meet the Wild Wall Pussycats, and basically Cebrus says, Pussycats, Cebrus. Both of the, let's just say the Cebrus, like a freaking malicious intent of Cebrus just shows of a dog, and the freaking Wild Pussycats show like a tiger or something like that. Like both of them were roaring at each other, kind of like that thing. Now, anyway, Deku and freaking what's her face, Cebrus, basically all of them, I hate to say it, get thrown off the edge of the cliff. This is when Deku just says, "Alright, let's go. Yuki, come with us." And she says, "Oh, alright." And yeah, pretty much that happens. Give me a second here, people, because I actually forgot what was going to happen here. Like I said before, who made this crap? We were just studying my foot. Now, hold on here. Let's see. There's people who are monsters. All monsters. Now, anyway, let's go back. So, yeah, this is Koda. And what I'm trying to see, okay. So this means, if I'm looking at this correctly, basically they're all in uniform, so no worries about that. Now, anyway, let's see, yeah, pretty much Deku is riding on Cebrus, and Yuki's with them, and she doesn't actually have a quirk per se, but like I said before, I'm going to give her at least the mist quirk, and basically her thing is she can shoot not shadows. She's allowed to shoot with guns. Why? Well, because she filled in an application which will allow her to use weapons. Now, anyway, we go back to where Deku just says, "Alright, Yuki, listen up. I'm going to give you a much more deeper idea of what we do. Me and you, and Cebrus, and our newest member, Stain, we are all you two of you are contracted by me. And Cebrus right here is my companion. She is also my partner. No, not my partner, she's also my servant. You are my servant. But here's the thing, you have no powers like her. She is her own thing. You are a reborn, and Stain is a reborn. Do you understand that?" Yuki just nods her head and says, "Great." Let me just go back right here. Just always gotta find something. Yeah, pretty much. She wears a maid outfit from time to time due to the fact that freaking Inko is glad that freaking money's coming in from somewhere. So yeah. Now, the whole thing with freaking Deku and Cebrus, they are kind of like a couple. It's just that Deku sometimes is, sometimes it's a kind of weird thing between those four. Why? Well, because Cebrus has been with him his whole life and was there when he needed her the most. So why wouldn't he have feelings for her? Besides, they have a human form now. And Yuki might be a part of the little, be a quintet. But anyway, so they meet Koda. Koda does not punch him at all, because the moment he tried to do it, they just see freaking these three looking at them with these eyes. If you guys remember it, they all look at him like this, and Deku just automatically does a grimace smile. One of his eyes are basically non-existent. It basically looks like this right here. And basically Koda doesn't do a thing. Basically just stands back and he says, "Wonderful, Koda. Now, please do not do what you are going to do next time, alright?" And this is when Mineta, he knows what the stare is the whole time. Why? Well, because he changed a little bit. He's still a pervert, but he's not going to perv on those three, these three pups. So he's like, I understand your pain. Now, Deku is told by freaking Aizawa to do whatever you want, or basically the whole thing, cooking and stuff. Freaking Mandalady. That's a hard name to do. Just tells Deku about Koda's past, and Deku was like, yeah, I pretty much figured that out after his kind of bratty-ish tone about heroes that suck. And it's like, geez, it reminds me of Stain. Oh man, how many more people are gonna be like this? Now, the whole freaking thing with Muscular, since the other part of it's boring as heck, happens, and Deku versus Muscular. Now, this is when Muscular says, alright, look at this. Koda. Or, I think I know who your thing is. You know what? Basically, let's just skip to the part where those two are fighting. Koda asks him, how did he find him? And freaking Deku just says, pretty much, your soul was clean as snow, but it's been tainted by gray. You pretty much have depression all over you, and it kind of sucks. But don't worry. All of this will be done in a matter of minutes. This is when freaking Muscular says, you think you can really take me on? And Deku just says, oh jeez, you remind me of another blonde-haired idiot. This is when Bakugo sneezes, and is like, who the heck's talking crap about me? Now anyway, Deku and Muscular start fighting. Muscular tries to attack him, but Deku uses, let's see, what form would I want to give him? What's his face? You know what? I'm going to let him fight the Judgerson, or the basic judge. Now, this is when Deku hits him with the hammer, and freaking Muscular starts flying, running to him, and punches him. This has gone over probably a good 3 minutes, and Deku gets mad and says, alright, that's enough. And he summons his executioner form. This is when he starts slashing him much more harder, and Muscular feels the pain, and just says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can still rebuild my freaking muscles. And this is when Koda starts kind of crying, and he's like, Koda, why are you crying? And this is when Koda says that this is the man who killed my parents. And he's like, oh, did he now? Well, don't worry, freaking Koda. Patting him on the head, basically saying, don't worry. How would I say this? Oh yes, I will take care of this. You just sit there and close your eyes. Do not look a bit, otherwise bad things will happen. Won't happen to you, but you'll be scared. Alright? And he says, I want to see him suffer. And this is when Deku just says, oh jeez, kids nowadays just want something. Well, fine. Don't worry about this. Now, this is when Deku summons his first form, and he basically slams the ground. Everybody hears this, or a lot of people hear this. A bunch of chains wrapping on somebody. This is when Deku just says, alright, now it's my turn. And summon his jurisdiction form. And this is when he summons, he stabs the freaking ground. And it basically shows more than at least 100, let's say 180 dead people automatically see him, or are automatically in the open up, or are summoned. This is when Hades like, oh wow, this guy has killed so much. And Deku just says, you have tainted the blood of the innocent. Why did you do this? And this is when freaking he says, well, I got bored. Now get me out of these chains, you brat, and I will go easy on you and kill you fast. It will be a swift and as much as a painless death you're gonna get. And Deku says, I don't think so. Summons his death form and says, no, this is too good for you. Then he summons his freaking death form, the Grim Reaper state, and he says, alright, man, now, it's time for you to pay. Iron Maiden, suffer in the pain, your cries muffled, judgment befall onto you, Iron Maiden. This is when it shows an Iron Maiden that's as big as freaking Muscular. And he's just gobbled up. And this is when freaking spikes come all around him. And he says, this hurts. This hurts a lot. And this is when Deku just summons his eyes turn red. And he says, this is not good enough. And basically, there's a bunch of lava. And there's holes where the Iron Maiden is at. So basically, once that happens, he just dips the freaking Iron Maiden into the freaking lava, which starts to burn him. And Deku says, you really thought that was it? And this is when he says, infestation. And a bunch of freaking, let's say insects, fire ants, bees, tarantulas, all the insects from the ground start biting and eating his skin and flesh. And this is when he says, alright, I had enough of this. And this is when he summons the freaking dead to all come into Muscular's mind and start destroying him from the inside out. No amount of muscle regeneration could help him out in the very end. And this is when Muscular cries out and says, please just kill me. Please just kill me. I want to die. I just want to die. And he says, no. You don't die like this. And he says, I'm now the Grim Reaper, and I sentence you to death. And thunder crowds the whole freaking place. And it shows a portal of hell. And Deku just slashes him from his stomach, or let's say he basically slices him in half. Not diagonally, freaking south, from east to west, a horizontal slash, or a vertical slash. I forgot what it was called. But basically, he's now half of a man. He's like a short man now. And basically says, so I can die in peace. I can die in peace. And Deku says, no, you will not. You will not die in peace, my friend. And basically, two arms grab freaking Muscular, and all the dead that came from him basically just pull him as well. They're all pushing him, while Muscular's hands are trying to grip the ground itself. Freaking the spirits are basically, how would I say this? Are grabbing his hands, lifting it up, so that way he can go inside the portal of hell faster. And basically Deku says, well, Hell Gate close. And basically all you hear is the last scream of Muscular. Koda sees this, terrified, petrified, and he says, Koda. He says, yes, sir? Do not tell anybody about this, alright? If people found out about this, they will try to cause chaos and try to kill me. Do you understand, Koda? And he says, yes, sir. Good. Besides, you're a tough man. You've gone through this burden for a very long time. So, let's go back to your family. And he just pats him on the head and says, there's a person that you should meet. And he says, who would that be? And this is when Cerberus comes out of the woodwork and basically comes out like this. And basically says, this is the Cerberus that you met earlier. And it's basically a puppy. Now, this is when Deku just says, here, pet her. And this is when Koda feels a little more contempt and feels a lot more, how would I say this? He has this warm, fuzzy feeling. And Deku just says, alright, let's go and find the others. And all that happens, he meets freaking Toga, and he basically does something similar. He says, jurisdiction form, and basically slashes the ground. And basically all that happens is Deku just sees a bunch of younger people, a bunch of people that look menacing, and a freaking, what's his face? Let's say a bunch of perverted people, and all he sees is her life. And basically all he knows is that Toga has lived a horrible life as well. Having to be bullied because she was different, having to be hated by her parents, having people just pick on her 24/7. Not only that, a bunch of perverts tried to have their way with her. So Deku just sees this and says, you really just killed those who've done harm to you. As much as that should be a crime, you lived a harsh life in the very end, huh? And she says, you do not know who I am. You do not know what I've been through. And Deku says, no, I do not. But I know that that sin is basically anger and revenge. And all you wanted was happiness and somebody to tell you that you're good. And this is when she tries to stab him. And this is when she does. She stabs him multiple times and Deku just says, let it out. Just let it out. And he hugs Toga and says, you do not have to walk the path of evil anymore. You will work for me. Toga gets a little flustered because his blood tastes tremendous. No blood is like this. It tastes so good to her. And Deku just says, oh yeah, I forgot gods have tasty blood for some reason. I wonder if we're supposed to be the main course of a... Never mind. Toga. Himiko Toga. I like the name. You should keep it. Although your name is not going to be Toga anymore. Although I will call you that still. Your name will be different. Nobody will know who you are. So, will you join me? And basically all she does is says, yes. Why? Well, because he knows that she has an admiration of Stain. Because the whole Stain thing still happens. So basically the League of Villains happens still. Now, basically he summons a portal which can summon objects and stuff. But because he's been working on the teleportation thing, he can only send at least a good 4 people. Now, that all happens. Deku now has to try to find Bakugo. Bakugo still gets taken because he was trying to find him by himself, but due to all the sin, he's been having to work on fighting the others. And the whole Tokuyami thing and Dark Shadow, basically Deku just summons Hellfire, which is bright enough to change into bright red. Bright orange, at least. And basically it calmed Tokuyami down. Tokuyami saying, I'm sorry, and this will never happen again. Now, all this happens, and Bakugo is gone. Now, this is when Bakugo says, why the hell did you all bring me here? And Deku just knows that Bakugo is going to try to at least either blast his way through or probably stay there and wait until we help him. Now, this is where I'm going to leave it off here, because I gotta prepare for my Lucifer one. Now, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout What If here. Bye.